It's a great feeling of knowing the best is yet to come. Giving you the best that we have. Giving you the best that we have. And we're making life better.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Call the regular October meeting of the Board of Trustees to order and ask for the roll call.
Trustee Ash.
Here.
Trustee Breidenthal.
Here.
Trustee Daniels.
Here.
Trustee Flender. Trustee Maddox.
Here.
Trustee Rios.
Here.
And Trustee Townsend.
Here.
All right. Need a motion for approval of the amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda passes then. Item number 3.
Move approval of the minutes of September 18th.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries then. This time, we'd like to open up for audience to patrons and petitioners who wish to address the board. All right, seeing none, then we will move forward to communication.
There are no communications this month.
And no communication. Well, we're going to get to something here pretty quick. I'm sure we are. President's report.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, the major thing is that we traveled to Boston this month and had a wonderful time at the ACCT, the trustees meeting, the National Trustees meeting, and it was great. We had a wonderful time, and I'm sure you'll hear more from the trustees about the details of that. But it was a very good, informative meeting, and I think we all learned a lot at the convention. So
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, outstanding. All right, we'll hear from Dean Marks now. Personnel, item number 7 on the agenda.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, sister.
You have the personnel report before you. As for your information, items 7A 1 through 3, and asking for your approval for items 7B 1 through 20.
Move approval of personnel item B.
Second.
Personnel, item what, JD?
B.
B? All right.
7.
And we have a second. All right, are there any questions for Dean Marks? Hearing none, we'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Okay, item 8, Vice President report, and we'll hear from Vice President Aga Jaffer.
I'm going to stand over here because I'm going to show you a PowerPoint.
Yes.
And I would like to ask Dr. Sunky Lin and Dean Cliff Smith, and I don't see Marvin Hunt. I'm sure he'll be here in a second. If not, could somebody call him, please, and tell him to come? Thank you. All right. Well, we got the TAA CCT grant funded
Yay.
by the Department of Labor for nearly $3 million. So.
Right on.
And what we're going to do is just give you a brief PowerPoint on exactly what is involved with this grant. The first slide is, this is the goals of the T4E grant. It's called Training for Employment. And the grant, basically what it does is it serves trade-affected TAA eligible workers, veterans, and others. And TAA is workers who have lost their jobs because the jobs have gone overseas. Second goal is to transition participants to high-wage, high-skill employment, to ensure participant success, to meet employer needs, and to improve KCKCC's ability to deliver programs. The funding begins October 1, 2012. I have contacted the Department of Labor. Each grant recipient is assigned a federal grant officer, and I contacted the Department of Labor to find out who our grant officer is, and I finally got a phone call from them last week saying one hasn't been assigned yet, so hopefully one will get assigned soon because we're anxious to get going with this. Grant funding, training, and related support activities continue until September 2015. It's a 3-year grant. The evaluation, however, continues until the following year, September 2016. Training and support activities will extend beyond the life of the grant. One of the things that we had to demonstrate when we were writing the grant is that it's going to be sustained. And so all the training and the activities that the grant is funding will continue beyond the life of the grant. The highlights: the creation of a transition to employment center in Tech 1. When we were writing the grant, I asked Brian Bodie to allocate space for us to have a transition to employment center, which is going to be like a center for training, and it's going to be located near the areas that the grant is impacting, which is machine technology and welding. And in that training transition to employment center, Workforce Partnership is going to have an office so that we can coordinate closely with Workforce Partnership. We're going to have a coordinator for the program. The project manager is going to be located there, and people will come in and get training and hopefully be linked up with employers. It's also going to include intensive advising, which includes assessment, early alert, reporting, and tracking. We are going to transform the curriculum to include multimedia content and online and blended delivery modes. Some of the curriculum that is part of this grant, the machine technology welding, some of it can be done online. And so we're going to look at those components that could be done online and deliver them online, and we're also going to integrate multimedia content. There's going to be stacking and latticing of certifications, credentials through career pathways. I think we're all familiar with stacking, and that is when you get one certificate and then you build on another and then you build on that until you get your 2-year and then you get your 4-year degree. Latticing was something new that they did for this grant, and basically what latticing is that you may start on this pathway but then decide I want to switch to a different credential. The courses that you've taken should be kind of latticed to go for that other credential so that nothing is wasted. So then that's how we did it. We set it up so that there's a lot of stacking and latticing, lateral movement. And the other highlight is to strengthen employer and public agency partnerships. Credentialed, go ahead, somebody has a question?
On the transition to employment center, can you give a little more detail? How is that going to be set up?
Okay.
And when you talk about training, is that what are referred to as the soft skill training, or is that going to actually be the more into the actual work?
It's going to be both, and how it's going to be set up is the grant doesn't pay for bricks and mortar. So we're going to have that center, but what the grant will fund is personnel. We're going to have computers. The grant will purchase for us around 10 computers. And then the training, the way we're going to set it up is a reception area, then the training area, and then offices. And what the grant will do is it'll pay for the training, both for soft skills and for the credential training. So it'll do both. Plus, we can, once we have that center, we can have any kind of training that business and industry wants. We can use that center for that. So that's basically.
Workforce will have an office located in that area?
Right. Workforce Partnership will have an office and a staff member there.
And will there be any other agency partnership offices in that location?
No.
So
Just Workforce Partnership, and our staff, our project manager, And we're going to have an office we're going to hire a part-time like multimedia advisor, media advisor, those kinds of things, and they'll share an office. So we're going to have about 4 offices there.
The grant does include $360,000 for remodeling.
Good.
Mark, could I ask you about the curriculum? Will we be designing that curriculum ourselves, or will federal government be expecting us to do something, or is it pretty much our show?
No, it's pretty much our show, but what we will do is the grant will pay for training for faculty so that they learn how to do online.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have somebody train them, and then also a part-time person to come in and help us do the multimedia content. But the curriculum is all ours.
And I assume that the grant will pay for any upgrades in technology, staffing and so on, that will be a part of this new program?
Right. We're going to have an advisor. The grant will pay for 2 full-time faculty beginning in August for next year in those programs. And then the way that we've done it in order to show sustainability, the grant will fund their salaries for the first year. Year 2, we will pick up 1/3, the grant pays for 2/3, year 3, and so on and so forth. And hopefully by that time we would have generated enough enrollment. The grant will also pay for adjunct faculty, full-time advisor. We're also, the grant is purchasing for us kind of an early alert system, which once we get it, it will be used for the grant, but it'll also obviously benefit the rest of the campus. And that was about $30,000.
Yeah, this is probably way too early to be thinking about this. When the grant runs out, will we need to be thinking about some costs of the college to maintain the program? I mean, these grants always run out at some point.
Yeah. The cost to the college will be just then gradually to pick up the salary for the faculty
Great,
and the
okay.
staff.
Yeah.
Some of those positions will obviously dissolve once the grant is over. For instance, the project manager. It's a 3-year position just for the duration of the grant.
Great, sounds good.
Tamara, how is this new grant being integrated with the developmental emphasis?
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you for asking that. We are going to integrate, and in fact, we're going to be talking about that. iBest, which is what we're doing with the AOK grant, where we have faculty who will come into these areas, these classes, and integrate math, reading, and writing into the curriculum. We're doing that with the AOK grant with iBest, and so we've integrated that into this as well. And the grant will pay for those faculty to come in and work with the instructors and train them so that we can be doing that. The other thing, I'm sort of jumping ahead here, is what we call fleet training, which is financial literacy, entrepreneurial skills, soft skills. We're going to integrate that into the curriculum as well. Okay, actually, I jumped ahead. This is Dr. Hunt, sorry. Oh, it's Cliff first, sorry.
The credentialed areas that it's going to cover for training is construction with green technology, electrical technology, heating and refrigeration, building and property maintenance, welding technology, and machine technology.
And the reason that these areas were selected is
That was the
because-
high wage, high demand type jobs that's where the jobs are right now.
All right. I'm going to address, Tamara already did address some of these, but the supportive areas of training. And we call these supportive because the heart of the matter is the technical training. But in order to give a person a little more well-rounded background, we have chose to wrap around other types of training. We call the one program fleet training, which is financial literacy, employability skills, and entrepreneurship training. And you might ask, well, why in a Department of Labor grant, when you're going to train people to go out and become employed, do they need to be entrepreneurs? And that's a little bit of a change for the Department of Labor in that they expect people to be entrepreneurial inside and outside of an organization now. And some people may take these skills and turn those into a small business too. So that's always an option. So there will be some entrepreneurial training. We're excited about the financial literacy training because there's research, and we had to prove this to the Department of Labor, that there's research that shows that if a person gains financial literacy training, they are more effective as an employee, and that their employers are more satisfied with their performance, and it's a better bottom line situation for the company. So the employability skills, we've been living by that in the last year or so here, believing in that capability of people will be increased if you give them that employability block of training. So there's other wraparound services that are credentials actually with OSHA training, forklift training, warehouse certifications that give people more credentials and more depth so that you might remember we talked about stacking and latticing. Well, if they have a variety of training and a variety of credentials, even at lower levels and quicker things like the OSHA or forklift training, they can go out and get employment in a way that suits them best. They may not be up the full pathway yet, but they're climbing up that pathway, and at any number of points they can gain employment and make a little better money than if they didn't have those other types of training. And then finally I will address the types of degrees that will be stacked. Of course there's certificates, and then our technical studies associate degree can be part of that pathway of stacking in that pathway. And then finally, we are already starting to engage in articulation discussions with Pittsburgh State and with Kansas State University, and those will be baccalaureate degrees in technical studies. And we're excited, to be creating the more extensive type of pathways for our students in those regards. So the Salina Technical Studies degree is the K-State Technical Studies degree is in conjunction with the Salina campus for K-State. And I'm happy to take any questions about that
Marvin,
slide. Yeah.
I was wondering, in the credentialed areas that Cliff identified, did we at the college get to identify those, or did the grant stipulate they had to be in certain of those areas, or was it a combination?
We completely chose what we wanted to do. You might remember in the first round of the TAA that we participated in, which was actually the second round. This award was in the third round, but during the second round we had looked at biosciences and thought about that as an approach. And you kind of have to read between the lines at an RFP where you're going, well, what are they really wanting, and what will fit, and what makes our college work best? And with the growth with the Tech Center, we just thought that these were the most likely types of things to get awarded because of the fit with the college and with the fit with the need out in our community. So no, we made that choice, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
If no other questions, thank you.
This year, I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Last year, the grant was you only have one application. Either you go in as a consortium or you go in as a single entity. This year, they did it a little bit differently. They said you can go in as a single entity, or you can also go in as a member of a consortium as long as you are not the lead in that consortium. And we basically hedged our bets. We did it both. We went in with Johnson County Community College as a member of their consortium, and for that program they did transportation. They didn't get funded, and so obviously we didn't get funded there either. But what we did with this one is basically we sat down and we said, what are the needs of this institution? What are the needs of this community? That's what we focused on, and we had heard from business and industry, manufacturing. That's the big thing, and so that's why we focused on those areas. Now, stacking and latticing, we had to be able to demonstrate that when you get your certificate, you can pile one on top of the other and then gradually move up to the associate's degree, and then we'd have articulations for the four-year degree. But at the same time, the grant asked us to do multiple entry, multiple exit. So it was a complicated process, and we had to be able to show that students can come in, where they can come in, and then how they can move up. And we did all of this in a narrative, and then one of the members of the team said, well, maybe we need to do a diagram. And so she went home and came up with about 5 or 6 diagrams that encapsulated all of this. We zeroed in on this one, and you can see all the arrows pointing. That if you start with OSHA, you can go in like 3 different areas. If you come in and do welding, you can do latticing and move into machine technology. I don't know if you can see all those arrows, that it was fairly complicated. And then the whole thing, the construction, building and property maintenance, you've got the green technology certifications. So we tried to capture all of that, and quite frankly, I think it looks quite amazing. And I want to give credit to Karen Fife. Karen, stand up and take a bow, because she came up with this. I think it's just amazing. This was my favorite part of the grant. And then you can also see fleet and the OFW, the OSHA forklift and warehousing certifications. So we did this in in half a page, and I think it just encapsulated everything. And at the very top, you can see the bachelor's degrees. So that's what that's all about. Okay, turn it over to Cliff.
The industry partners that helped with the grant and decided to partner with us was Webco, Triumph, R&D Leverage, Unitech, Venture, Def and Buy Industries, Hans Rudolph, Vista Machine, RF Fisher, and many more. They also wrote letters of commitment, which really helped with the grant.
Cliff,
Yes.
what will the partners be doing in this? Are they going to be providing technical assistance, equipment?
They sent letters saying that if our students went through the program, that they'd commit to hire or do
good.
internships and stuff like that. So.
Great. But no technical support or finance or support, anything like that? The hiring process?
No.
Great. Okay.
There were quite a few areas that they could commit to between internships and potential for hiring, interviewing, and we let them guide us, but they documented it. So we actually made a chart that showed the Department of Labor what areas various companies were committing in. I'm going to address the public partners now. Cliff talked about the partners from industry. We also have to, the Department of Labor requires you to gain commitments and have communication with and expectations for helping develop aspects of the programming with public partners. And we already have a good working relationship with the local workforce investment area folks at Workforce Partnership in Kansas, and Scott Engelmeyer leads that effort. And Scott and I have been talking for some time about co-officing somehow everything from putting one person on the KCC campus to moving his whole staff somehow into the college. I mean, there's just been speculation about what's the best way to make closer associations. And I believe that the government is most interested in tying the local workforce investment areas into the community colleges and having the community colleges play a bigger role in that relationship. And Scott Engelmeyer, I know, is very supportive of that kind of concept, which surprised me a little bit that they would want to join us quite to that extent. But we really have worked that out where he will send staff permanently into this transition to employment center. So we're excited about that. The Missouri LWIA with Clyde McQueen and those folks over there, they've been good to have support for some of our technical programs in the past, and they'll be a partner. Then there's industry advisory boards. That's continuing the tradition of listening to industry. The Mid-America Regional Council, we've been quite active with them across a variety of programs, and they've been very supportive in this effort. And then you can see the other ones listed there. We will rely on our partners and have expectations that they will continue to support us and grow other programming. I mean, the wonderful thing about this type of thing with a group of partners like this is there's always other funding opportunities, and we can be judicious in selecting which opportunities to continue in growing our partnerships with these type of folks.
Personnel. We're going to have a project manager. We've already written the job description for this position. I'm just waiting for permission from the grant manager, the federal grant manager, to go ahead and advertise and get moving with this, because we really desperately need the project manager right away. Right now, the four of us are kind of handling, moving on this. Data tracking and reporter. We have to track the students that come into the program and track how they do in the program and where they go after that. 2 full-time faculty, 1 in welding, 1 in machine technology. Adjunct faculty, integrated learning instructors, multimedia content developer, somebody who's going to come in and show the faculty how to incorporate multimedia elements. An advising coordinator, and this has to be somebody that's going to be stationed at the TTE Center specifically for these students. We've also included intensive or intrusive advising as part of this grant. A transition to employment coordinator and a project administrative assistant, all of whom are going to be housed at the new TTE Center, hopefully. And then we've got other contracted services.
Tomorrow, where are you going to house these people before we get into Tech 1?
We're going to house them in the existing tech for the time being until we can get them in there. But the grant was we were very clear with the application that the new tech isn't going to be ready until August 2013. Is that right? Yeah, 2013.
Tamara, am I correct in that the grant is funding these positions or pieces of these positions at least through next year?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
it's funding all of them. Yeah.
So this could help with can it help with existing staff?
Absolutely.
Let's say with the developmental,
Yeah.
new developmental emphasis. Oh, great.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Now, some of these positions, we'll just have them for the first year, like the multimedia content developer. You just need that probably for the first year. But the grant is funding everything. We've got nearly $3 million, and we got every single cent that we asked for, by the way, which was amazing.
And some of the employees, college has to pick up 33% second year. First year, 100% grant will pay, but the second year, college has to pick up 33% of those employees' salary, and third year will have to pick up 66%. And beyond the grant period, if we want to keep them, we have to pay 100% of their salaries. And some of the part-time people, we don't have to worry about part-time because we can let them go anytime. But these are contracted services where they're not part-time. They are typically one-time services that we're gonna ask for, and some of these are online course developer. One of the big emphasis that this grant placed on this time is having a online technology, and these are tech education, typically hands-on training. But we had to have a component where, we had to have some kind of online technology that helps not only accessibility of our students, but also the enhancing learning, student learning of our contents area. So what we decided to do was hiring these online course developers as well as the multimedia content developers, so that these two people will help our faculty to develop online courses. Some courses will be converted 100% online, and some courses will have only a part of the online component where students can simultaneously look at some of the online materials, and this multimedia content developer will try to videotape hands-on training and put it online, so that before or after the training they can take a look at it, how it's done, and they go through the actual hands-on training, and then when they're done, they can go home and to remind their memories to just view this again to enhance their learning. And these trainers, that was online versus online/hybrid trainer, will help them to get all this technology by these faculties at our tech center. And we'll also be contracting with the marketing support. About $130,000 were allocated to this marketing effort. And also the online portal developer and manager will be hired. This position is for having a portal where our students, faculty, and staff can communicate better. And not only that, outside professionals that are in machine technology or welding can communicate with our students, so that students can post questions and professionals can give some advices. And also there's a job opportunity out there, so that we could have a little more communication going with our students, with outside professionals. And there's a third-party evaluator called Latticing, and Dr. Martin is here, our evaluator, but she will be introduced properly by Mara today. Any questions on that?
With the facilities, what we come up with, it's going to be the creation of the Transition to Employment Center, which is going to be in Tech 1. It'll have 31,000 square feet. It includes a computer training area, restrooms, office, a conference room, a break room, and a reception area. It'll house the TTE personnel, workforce partnership staff, and the support staff that goes with it. On the equipment side, the stuff that was put in the grant was the robotic laser, welding and cutting machines, pulse welders, 10 new computers for that area, the server, and the office equipment that goes with that.
Could you give us the life expectancy of the various equipment?
Robotic
Just a
laser.
guesstimate.
The robotic laser welder, I mean, we've had one before. Yeah, I would think that would last around 20 years. It's we've had one for about 15 now. Pulse welders. The main reason that we do the pulse welders, were you asking how much we spent too?
No,
Okay.
no, just how long?
Okay, the pulse welders and.
I'm thinking about the sustainability factor that we're responsible for.
Sure. Yeah, I would think the robotic laser welder we've had already. I mean, there'll be maintenance on it, but mainly 20 years, I would think.
Okay.
The pulse welders, the only reason we've gotten rid of ones before is because they got outdated with industry, so we went with new type of machines that they'd be using in the industry. The computers, you know, generally 3 to 5 years, I would imagine, until they're outdated. And usually on the computers, we rotate those to somebody that wouldn't use them quite as much, like building and property. Server is beyond me. I don't know anything about the computer. So office equipment, I would think 10 years it would be outdated also.
Okay.
Any other
What did
questions?
you say on the pulse welder, what was your guesstimate there?
They could last 10 to 15 years, depending on if we want to keep up with industry, if they change what they're
Well,
welding
right.
with.
That would be our goal, yeah.
By the way, those first two items, robotic laser and pulse welders, we allocated about $850,000 for these two equipments, and additional allocation for computers and servers and office equipment. These are the outcomes that we submitted, and about 1,089 individuals through year 1 through 3 were expecting to serve. Out of those 1,089, we said 720 participants will be completing program of study. So about 70% of those students will be finishing program of study. And about 936 participants completing credit hours. That means more than 90% of students are at least finishing 1 or 2 courses if they don't complete their program of study. And about 80% participants earning credential, one credential or another, a Cert A or Cert B or Cert C. And at least 10% of the participants enrolling in further education after program of study completed. And more than half of the participants will be employed after program completed. These are our goals, and we'll have to report these goals each year to the grant officer.
About what percent of our students enroll in further education after their program of study is completed?
Right now? Oh, currently? Currently,
What's your estimate?
about
That's
6-7%.
6, 7?
Yeah. That's my.
That's very tough. I mean, most of
Yes,
them are.
these people are not.
career,
Yeah, most of the
so
students
they're
are not
really
here
looking
for.
because they're happy in their career.
Exactly.
We've given them their credentials with, they're highly qualified. They're happy with their, as I say, their career, their income, so they don't need to be thinking about,
Yes.
frankly.
Clearly, with this grant, stacking and latticing emphasis from this Department of Labor, obviously, the Department of Labor has very strong interest of moving students up through the step so that they could go all the way to either associate or bachelor's or even beyond. And by the way, the going from tech to higher certificate to associate is also one of our goals with the KBOR, with the performance agreement.
Okay. Okay, that's basically it. I want to introduce the team that worked on the grant, but I want to begin by just introducing Dr. Gwen Martin, who is the founder and owner of Latticing. One of the requirements of the grant was that you have to have an outside evaluator. And so very early on, once we kind of began to form what we were planning to do, we put out an RFP to solicit basically applications to be the evaluator. And we had 2 or 3 applicants. We interviewed them by phone, conference call, and it was unanimous. We decided on Dr. Gwen Martin, founder and owner of Latticing. She has had extensive experience working on federal grants, and once we had invited her to join us, Dr. Martin started attending our meetings, because as the evaluator, she had to know what we were planning to do to help shape the evaluation portion of the grant. So Dr. Martin is here today, if you'd like to stand up. And here she is. Way. And the folks that worked on the grant, I think they're all here today, and everybody had different strengths. We pulled together this team, and everybody just did their part, and it was absolutely fantastic. Brennan Crawford, who is the coordinator. Brennan, are you here? Yeah, stand up if you can. Karen Five, Dr. Marvin Hunt, Jay Matlack. Jay, are you here? Okay. All right, and Sung Ki Min, Rich Piper. Rich, are you here? Cliff Smith, Susan Turner over here, and obviously Vice President Brian Bodie. That's the team that worked on the grant, and they deserve a big round of applause. Thank you. Would any of you like to say, address the board in any way? Or anything?
Could I ask Dr. Martin a question? Are you willing to take a question?
Yes, Dr. Martin. Come on up.
The evaluation will be based on what? Is it going to be on these established outcomes, or do the feds determine what it's going to be? Is there some role the overall college plays in the evaluation?
Yeah.
And it may be too early for you to answer those questions, but what's your
No, it's
thinking
an
on that?
extensive evaluation, but it was really created around what you were going to do, and also how you're going to do it. So it's a comprehensive process, kind of developmental, because the feedback will go back to the people involved with teaching, so to speak, the student feedback, also other feedback that kind of shapes the program as it goes forward. So it's not like just at the end we come in and say, okay, did you meet these goals?
Okay.
We will work closely before they start implementing. We'll also have a comparison group of students, so we can really see how did these soft skills, how did the technical skills make a huge difference, and we're expecting huge differences.
Will you be evaluating every year?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ongoing for 4 years.
Okay. And I assume that part of the evaluation is meant to be helpful in promoting the program going forward as things are seen that need to be changed or improved or tweaked or whatever. That's part
And
of the
that's
process.
what's really important. So if you're doing something for, say, a quarter, 3 months, 4 months, and it's not working,
Yeah.
we have that feedback. Then we work with the instructors to say, you know, this isn't working, so now how do you have to tweak it? And the DOL allows us to do that. So it's not like a cut and dried, you have to measure this, you have to measure that. So it's very, very developmental.
And is part of it overall support from the broader college? So it's not just a program out there working on its own, it is part of the college program? Is there
I mean, everything feeds together, so it's very interconnected.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look forward to the evaluations.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure we'll be doing well.
Yes, thank you.
What role can the Board of Trustees provide? How often could we expect, I think maybe if we keep this in the forefront of the agenda, some sort of, whatever time frame you all think best, so I don't want to say one, but I think this needs to be kept in the public as well as the trustees' eyes and ears, so that, because this is a sizable grant. I'm not aware of where it ranks in grants that we have received as a college, but I'm sure it's got to be up there. So, I don't want us to lose this and just say, okay, well, we've got a report, maybe we hear the annual evaluation, but a lot of times those are more summative, and we probably want to have, informed decisions before budget, before things, see if we're needing to be supportive in some way. So what are your thoughts in that area?
It's going to take us a couple of months to get everything going. So would you be okay if we give you like a report towards the end of spring semester, an update? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Because by that time, hopefully, we should have gotten some movement. Right now, we're ready to move, but I'm afraid to do anything without having that grant officer, And when I phoned them up last week, the gentleman on the phone from the Department of Labor said to me, "You only just got this grant October 1. And I said, "Yeah, but you don't know me. I want to get started on it right away because I don't want to get, I don't want us to get behind on it." So hopefully by the end of the spring semester, we will have some good progress to report. And meanwhile, as far as the role of the board is concerned, as long as you continue to disseminate the information and tell people we have the grant, I think it's a great thing. I think it is maybe, I know we had a Title III grant before, didn't we? But I think we hired an outside company to write that grant for us. And when we were working on this one, we kept getting emails from companies saying that, we can help you write this grant, but obviously if they help you, they want a percentage if you get it. And we basically said, no, we can do this on our own. We know what we want. We know what's good for this institution, what's good for the community.
That's right.
So in that sense, it was all our work, which is great. So,
Yeah.
all right?
Great. Yes.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. When I first came on the board, I remember one of the initial things we talked about in future planning was moving the college to be the leader in economic development, employability skills, workforce development. Now we're having staff from workforce development located in our center. I just think we're getting there. That's really exciting. Yeah.
Tamara, the grant award subsequently led to the occasion for Secretary Solis to be here.
Yes.
Would you like to just briefly comment on that?
Yes,
I know
would.
it's in your written report.
Yeah,
but
it is. It was amazing. I think the week before she came, I got a phone call from the Department of Labor saying that would you be willing to host Secretary Solis? She would like to visit your institution to congratulate you for the award. And I said, oh, yes, that would be great. And I'm thinking, weeks down the road. They said, no, she has to come next week. And so I said, well, that's not going to give us much time. And initially they had said October 9, then they switched it to October 11. So it was a scramble to get ready for her. They require all kinds of things. They wanted the names of the people who are going to be at the current tech so that they could vet them. They wanted the guest list that I had prepared. Her advance team came out a couple of days earlier to check out the facilities with their security. I mean, it was a whole elaborate thing, but it went it was just fantastic. When her advance team came, I suggested that our professional cooking students should prepare some refreshments for her. And so Mekki, who was her assistant, basically said she would like that. And so our professional cooking students, and I have to give a congratulations to Cheryl Ronnebaum and Richard McPeak, because they had prepared the students, they had got the students to prepare this elaborate meal. It was just incredible. Finger foods, and in the middle they had done this display which looked like a tropical island.
Yeah.
It was like a chocolate volcano, and they had dolphins made of bananas, and they had palm trees with the leaves were made of green pepper. I mean, it was a centerpiece. And when I told the students to line up behind the table, so that as soon as she walked in, she would see them, and then, we invited her to stand in front of them and take pictures. It just blew her mind. She just walked around and shook hands with every single student and, asked them about the food. I mean, they just did us proud. It was fantastic. And then we took her to the machine technology, where the Fox 4 News was waiting for her. I think it was in the welding area. Fox 4 News was waiting, and they videotaped her, and our media team was there as well. And I have to also give a shout out to Jim Beechwood for marketing, because he coordinated this with her marketing people, and then also obviously Michael Kimbrough and his staff, because they did a fabulous job of just, you know, following her around and taking pictures, and Alan Hoskins was there. She went to each station and shook hands. She was just very engaged with all the students. And when she went to the machine technology area, the day before, or 2 days before she came, we were touring, and I had suggested that they students engrave her name on a pen. They can do that in the machine technology area. So they had engraved her name on the pen, and when she came, one of the students presented her with that, and it just blew her mind. She just loved it. She turned around and showed it to everybody, and that was fantastic. She was just very, very engaged with the students. And then we got into the car, and with her police escort, we went to the New Tech, and there we did a kind of brief speech and meet and greet, and she spoke, and it was an excellent visit. Her advanced team told me this was one of the best visits that she's done, and they really loved it. And I invited her to come back when the tech was finished so that she could see it. I don't know if she will or not, but the invitation was out there. So it was great publicity, and I just want the board to know that not only for this visit, but for the grant, you've got a tremendous group of people working here. They really are. When you ask for help, when you tell them we need you to do this, they all jump in and everybody gives his or her best. And it really is a tremendous group of people. So I just want to make sure that everybody recognizes that.
Yes, well, it was an incredibly fine hour for the college, or 2 hours, whatever amount of time she was here. Certainly, and it's not like, we canceled everything else. I mean, we still have to do business, and campus police still have to secure the rest of the campus. In addition to assisting there, the police department assisted as well, and classes went on, and students were learning, and all of that was going on, and yet many people had to put everything else on hold in order to pull that off, and it was a really, really fine couple of hours for the college where we were showcased. Great. And congratulations to everyone that made that possible.
Thank you.
Well done.
And I think Rich wants to say a few words, as you might anticipate. Rich.
Holding true to form, if she opens up the forum, can anybody say anything? I'm going to have a chance. Real quick, in my life, when the grant was awarded, I can only think of a few days that were bigger in my life. Meaning, the day I was married, the birth of my 4 children, and when I got an invite to spring training to go to try out for the Cincinnati Reds and New York Yankees. To know the team, you got to understand, to watch a team go to work and get after it, knowing there's no guarantee, knowing that there was failure in the first round. But what's great about this country is we get back up. And what was great about our leadership is being very, very humble. Tamara, Sankey, Cliff, Marvin. They took that first evaluation, analyzed it, and said, how do we get better? And it just so happens that advanced manufacturing is popping in this city right now. Still in this country, there are 700,000 unfilled positions in this country right now in advanced manufacturing. So the tech in that area is perfectly set up. All right? Number 2, that laser, I have never received so many phone calls from industry so excited that there is a actual legitimate laser going to be in a training facility. All those manufacturing partners call, and they were weighing in. We don't want to get in your business, but I want to let you know that these 2 companies, Trump and Amada is the other one that they use. I mean, they are that open with us, saying we just want to let you know what we think. Please don't get Mitsubishi. We don't use. I mean, they're just weighing in. So again, I want to close with this. This has been it just starting, and the work's just beginning. But to watch our leadership team go. Use analytical research, which educators do,
Hey, we didn't make it the first time. How do we get better the second time? And then bring in people to say, what do you think? And then implement those thoughts and turn it into nearly $3 million. This is huge. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Great,
Yes.
great.
Let me just say to the team that you didn't see tomorrow on the day that we were awarded the grant. People wanted to get a video camera to capture the dance that she did in my office when we got that information. It was just so significant. And when we talk about our vision that KCC will become the most progressive, forward-thinking, forward-looking community college in the state of Kansas, we changed that to say that Kansas City, Kansas Community College is the most progressive, forward-thinking, forward-looking community college in the state of Kansas. And that is exemplified by the work that our leadership team has done in developing this grant and the many other things that are going on. So I say congratulations to us. KCC, and thank you so much.
Well done. Well done. Okay, Brian, you get to follow that. Oh, yes. My apologies.
Move approval.
Second. All right, are there any questions or comments about tomorrow's written report? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If you're opposed, we're going to have an issue. Okay, Brian, now you get to follow.
Thank you. A slight change to the agenda, if I may, please. I'd like to introduce Jean Crane Smith and the students who are the entrepreneurial spirit of My Shelf to Yours. I don't know if you saw Monday's paper, the story in the Kansas City Star about My Shelf to Yours, and it's Jean Crane Smith, Barbara Clark Evans, and these students who are making that happen for our college.
All right.
I'm going to go first because I have a class waiting for me, and I will be very brief. I hope you all saw the article that was in the paper. It was huge. If you put everything together, it would have been a full page, which we couldn't afford to pay for that type of advertising for the school. So we're very excited about that. But I just wanted to make a very brief comment about Jeannie Crane Smith. Yeah, Jeannie's already rolling her eyes. My Shelf to Yours was Jeannie's brainchild, but it wasn't one of those ideas that came about of, oh, here I have this great idea of how to make money for the school. It was one of those ideas that was born out of love and care and mothering and mentoring and solution seeking for our students. And so when you hear people talk about more intrusive advising, Jeannie has been doing that for a very, very long time. And so today when you listen to our students, and yeah, I'm getting ready to cry because further down on the line you're going to see where Jeannie has announced that she's going to retire. This is her legacy. You're going to hear about the success of My Shelf to Yours, and you're going to hear these very articulate young ladies talk about the success of that program. And they are going to pass that baton to other students. This is a student-run business that provides scholarships for our students. And so on that note, I am going to turn it over to these folks and run back down to this class that I'm teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
I'm a little overwhelmed. Thank you. And I'm overwhelmed on this program and the support that all of you have given. Dr. Hunt for giving us space, which we have stacks and boxes of books in the CEB. And for Brian Bodie, who has probably been our number one supporter in so many different ways. And gave us the chance to start a bit of a micro business here on campus, run by students, and cringed at first at our opening up an eBay account, and it's going to have the college's name on it, and I said yes. and it's all for the cause of scholarship for textbooks and tuition. And he said, let's give it a shot. And we gave it a shot, and it's been extremely successful. And the success really belongs to the students helping other students. And for that reason, I would really like to hand this over to them.
Someone step up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ana Romero. I am the volunteer student manager, and this program has been going for 2 years. We've been getting a lot of attention. A while back, we were featured in a eBay Green Team article because of the recycling part of this program, which is that we are getting books donated from the community and reselling them to get textbooks for students who have low income. So yesterday we were featured in the Kansas City Star, and that's why we're here today. And it's been really successful. I've had a great experience participating in it because I know how it is to, struggle with paying for school and textbooks and all, and just knowing that I can help other students and, learn as well. It's a great experience for me, but I'll let them talk and say their experience.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Great.
Okay, good. My name is T, and I'm from Vietnam. I'm one of the students that helped Junie with the program. And I'm here today just because I used to help Junie with the pilot program in April 2009. And what we do, just like Anna said, we just sell the textbook to the students. Well, my experience is like it was really fascinating and fun with the program because it's helped me is the leadership, improve the entrepreneurship because my major is not in business. So I learned a lot about business, and most of all, I can help the other students, my fellows. So thank you for all of you caring about our program, and most of all, thank you for supporting us so our program can be more successful. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Maria Martinez. I'm from Colombia. I have been here for 2 years and 3 months. I am an international student, and it has been so hard for me to pay my tuition and my my textbooks. Sorry, and I think I have been blessed by this program, My Shelf to Yours, and through Miss Jeannie, I always say that she's the angel of KCC. So I've been lucky, and thank goodness I have received 4 times a scholarship through this program, and I appreciate everything that we are doing. I'm in charge of the lending library, and also do the accounting part of My Shelf to Yours. And we have helped many students, and I think they really appreciate everything that we are doing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's kind of a mixed emotion day, knowing that Jeannie's going to be leaving us soon makes us very sad, but the fact that this program is going to be able to be sustained is a bit of a bright note. With My Shelf to Yours, it's something that you can get really passionate about. Knowing that you're helping the environment by recycling all of these wonderful books, you're getting books into the hands of people that may not be able to afford them normally, because all of our books are $1 a piece, or 7 books for $5, which is a great price range for most of our students. And just knowing that all of what we're giving out is coming from the community, so it's the school helping support the small number of students in relevance that are getting the assistance. All of the other students are helping and contributing, and we're getting outside support with the books coming in. The article that Murray Williams did in the Star, she and I have been in email communication. She's already getting calls from people asking when and where they can bring us books so that we can continue the program. And it's a very emotional day, sorry. But, you know, just knowing that we have a program like My Shelf to Yours on campus, knowing that one of the students at Park want to start a program like My Shelf. She was a former SIFE student here. She's gone on there. She's not in SIFE now, but she's actually in another program there that is a sustainability program, and they're working to improve their campus. She's wanting to start like a My Shelf to Yours branch there, which is really heartwarming. So just thanks for all of your support, because I know I see many of these faces all the time. So just like to thank you all, and thank you for your time and letting us come up and speak. And I'm going to turn it over to Jared and let him.
Eva, can I just, did you say Park University was looking at this?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Firstly, we would like to thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to speak at your platform. We truly appreciate the board's attention, and the focus this morning is on the students, and foremost for the support of Jeannie Crane throughout this process. As a newcomer to this wonderful ship, it's been wonderful to be able to be under the wing of one of the most excellent people I've met here on this campus, especially with her focus on the students and the trajectory of this community college and the student success. We passed out a fact sheet to you all in terms of some of the numbers that we've seen with the My Shelf to Yours program. This year alone, we've been able to award and assist 39 students in terms of either scholarship or our book lending library. In closing, we wanted to be able to express the hard work of the ladies behind me, and also their dedication to this community college. We look forward to being able to continue this in the future, but foremost, we wanted to applaud them on their efforts to be able to be excellent representatives of the Kansas City, Kansas Community College and of the student body. So again, we'd like to thank you for your time this morning, and also wanted to thank Jeannie Crane Smith for her wonderful advisement of these students and for the support of this program that she's fostered throughout these years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Alan, please.
Hi, my name is Alan Lenore, and I'm the business instructor and also support person for SIFE. I didn't realize I was supposed to come up here and speak, so I'm kind of totally unprepared. But I'd just like to say that I'm, very proud of the students, the different organizations that have worked together. They have spent just many, many hours just supporting students. Say congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you all very much. Brian, thank you for highlighting this.
Appreciate it all, and thank you, and we will get every ounce out of you if you can, Jeannie, before you go.
Yes.
Thank you all. The program,
congratulations.
For those that don't really know, we get books from anyone who wants to donate books, sell them on eBay, and then the money is used to support the purchase of textbooks, either for loaning or for students to use during that semester. And I think if you get a chance to read the article, the first two paragraphs talk about where Gene got this idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
By the way, we are having a book sale tomorrow morning with warm Krispy Kremes. So what's better than a book and a Krispy Kreme?
That's right.
Oh, a cup of coffee.
We interrupt this meeting for a commercial.
Yeah.
All right. On to the finance part of the report. I'd like to ask for your approval of the payment of the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, are there any questions or comments? We have a question, Wendell.
I had a question about the report. I noticed earlier in Dean Marks's report that the athletic director is retiring at the end of November.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a process for replacement?
Yes, the The job description is being updated. It's been a long time since we've had an athletic director change. It's being updated, getting prepared to be posted. It will be a nationwide search.
Do we have a timeline on when we want to have someone in place?
We will probably have an interim because we won't get somebody by the time Coach Pratt's gone. No, we want to look for the best candidate sometime in second semester. It may perhaps, if someone's employed and can't get out of the college or where they're at right now, it may delay till spring or till summer, excuse me.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I'd like to call your attention to the financial reports and ask you for your approval of the financial reports.
Move approval.
Second.
The Finance Committee did review the report. It is the same sort of timing issue in our facility support, so I don't want the rest of the trustees to be overly concerned about the remaining percentage because, as we explained last month, there's a number of things going on, and we don't there is a reimbursement of the bond money and that it takes place, so I just want to remind the trustees of that. In September, we do have more in supplies and expenses. This is traditional. It's the start of school. So we actually buy a few more things at the start there. And so again, this, while it looks considerable, if you went back to previous Septembers, it's really pretty much in line with what the expenses have been in the past. So with that, we'll entertain any questions.
Are there any other questions regarding the financial report? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I ask for your approval of recommendations 10C 1 through 3.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
And Brian, I just wanted to comment. I drove by the college on Parallel the other day in the heavy rain Saturday, and that drainage system for the baseball field that you described to Ray and me that day was working just as you described it. The channeled ditches to channel the water out and around, that's exactly what was happening in that heavy rain. It was unbelievable. You got to see it, because once the field's down, we won't see it. But it was amazing. It was working as engineered.
Thank God. I was hoping that water would run some direction. Just as an update, in the next 2 weeks, we think we'll have sod in the outfield. They are working on the compaction of the infield right now to put down the AstroTurf, working on the turf on the soccer field. You can see that the roofs are now on the buildings. A lot more work can start inside of the buildings now. The doors are in, so we can start to secure those buildings as we start pulling all that electrical wire and start pulling all of that. We have to have a more secure building. And I think most of you have been down around and seen the progress at Tech. It continues to change every day. So, thank you.
Okay, report from committees.
Don, I have a question.
Yes.
This may be for Daryl. We did receive Brian's report by email. Can we adopt that here, even though it's not being presented in the open? Shouldn't we adopt that report?
If you refer to it, because now it'll be an open record, you can have the board acknowledge it, it becomes part of your agenda, then take the action that you want.
Yeah, I move we approve the Brian's report that was sent out by email.
Second.
Okay, the only question I would have is, Trustee Townsend, have you seen the report, or did you get a copy of it today since it went out on email?
I got a copy for you.
Okay, Brian has a copy for you. Will that be good?
Good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
That report was also mailed.
All right, committee reports.
I do have one from the Advancement Council. We had a very interesting report on the Endowment Association, with Rich and Patrick, including a history of the endowment, which not all of us knew, including me, and kind of where things stand now, and certainly Patrick's goals for the Endowment Association, and an overview of the upcoming Educational Hall of Fame. It was very enlightening. We did talk about scholarships, and certainly the Advancement Council is always looking for ways to assist with marketing the Endowment Association as well as the college. And as a result of that meeting, the Advancement Council is requesting that they be placed on the next meeting's agenda. They would like to give a report of their activities and accomplishments, if that would be possible.
Great. Good. All right.
If I may interject, we have tables and tickets for the board to the Hall of Fame dinner. You can just contact Peggy, please.
Okay. Good. Good. Ray?
Don, is this where you want that report on the meeting? Would be all right?
Sure.
Yeah. I put at your position, I just thought give you a little written report on some things I picked up at the AACC, and I noticed I got the C out of AACT, the Leadership Congress we went to, because I thought there were some important things that I picked up in some of the conversations. The focus of the meeting really was around completion and success for students, and we've all heard that now for a year or more, that's really the focus of the community colleges right now. And if you probably all just recently received a trustee quarterly. If you look at that, it's pretty much all devoted to that particular item. And it was interesting, a couple of presidents of colleges indicated that 10 years ago when the college presidents would get together, they talked about how many students do we have, and how many faculty, and how many buildings. And now when college presidents are getting together, they're talking about outcomes. How many students are being successful, how many students are doing completions, and it really becomes a focus more on outcomes rather than inputs. And there's even some discussion, there was actually a trustee, that the former state senator who his presentation, he's pushing for community colleges and all colleges to be funded based on outcomes, how many students are being successful, how many students are completing their programs, and based on how you're doing that, then you get your funding. How that would work, he didn't tell. There's a lot of issues around that, obviously, but there's some conversation going on about that. One of the things that they're pushing, and a lot of colleges are doing, is that second point. The board with college leadership defines what completion is. Mm-hmm. Because right now, they're trying to compare community colleges with four-year schools, like how many students have degrees 4 years or 5 years later. That doesn't work for community colleges. Right. So they're defining each college is defining what does it mean in that college for completion. They're talking about, the AA degree, completion of that. How many are going on to a four-year college, how many are getting a certificate in a program, and even how many are getting a job when they leave. And so it's not based on just the number of students that are getting a degree, it's looking at each student and determining what their outcome was supposed to be, what they were trying to do, and did they complete that outcome. And they're also setting short and long-range success goals. Most colleges, it looks like, somewhere around 10 to 15% considered success rate, because that's how many are getting certificates or AA degrees. That's not a realistic figure, but the feeling is there needs to be some kind of goal set. It was interesting tomorrow as you were going through the report on the grant, how many things you're doing in the grant relate to this. I mean, you've set goals around completion, you've established some definition of what completion and success are. So a lot of things that they talked about at the meeting, we're going to be doing in that report, and also in other things. They talked about how collaboration is critical with outside partners, especially school districts, businesses, and community universities, presidents and superintendents being together. The fourth bullet is one that I know we're working on really closely right now at this college. Relationships among students and faculty and staff are critical. Intrusive counseling, intrusive advising, consistent periodic meetings between students and faculty advisors. Every student that comes to college has an advisor and has a meeting with that advisor, establish an education plan, whether it's to get an AA or get a certificate or just taking some classes to get a job. But every student has a plan, and it's audited periodically to make sure that student's making appropriate progress. I gave examples of students going to get a particular degree, and when they audit the student's program, they find out the student's taking classes that don't even relate to that degree. I know we're looking at some of that. And it's important that every student has a connection in the college with someone he or she trusts and has easy access to. And one of the students that spoke talked about her college. She was given an advisor that was 25 miles away on the satellite campus. And she tried to get, every time she'd go in, she would try to get another advisor closer. Every time they went, she went and they gave her a different advisor. So she never got, and she dropped out. She left the college. Many colleges are eliminating late enrollments. And I know we've looked at that and doing some of that. The research is really clear about lack of completion or late enrollees. Even people that come in just 3 days late, their completion rate is really low. And this one college, they're closing enrollment 2 weeks before the first day of school. And what this does, it creates a tension between what community college has always been about access. That we take, you know, if you come here, we're going to let you enroll and go to school. And the research is showing now that's not really helpful for the students because the completion rate is really low. And they have a very small chance of success, and they're referring people to the next college. So I know that's something we're looking at and considering.
Done.
And done. Yeah, I think we did.
Enrollment days, it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, we do adds and drops in what we call schedule adjustment. But you know, if you haven't enrolled by enrollment day, you're not in. Yeah. We advise you to come back the second 8-week part of the semester.
Well, that's the trend, and most colleges are going to that direction. They're kind of fudging on the access issue to have more success in completion rates. Finally, a really interesting one tomorrow was this placement test. This North Carolina study, Sportive Gates, is indicating that the placement test may not be the best way to assign students. There's a lot of work to be done on that one, though. There's a lot of study left to be done on what that really means. Finally, mandatory attendance and orientation. I don't know how you do that, but a lot of colleges are requiring that. They think it makes a huge difference. Gets that student connected early, gets them oriented to the school. They're trying to get more of the developmental classes to take these college prep classes because a lot of high school students have never gone to college. A lot of adults have never gone to college, so there's some help around just what does it mean to go to college, what do you need to be doing around preparation, around study, around time commitments. And cohorts of students working with common faculty. I know we've got some of those going. And finally, there was a really good video, and they're going to try to send this to Dr. Gibbons, all the presidents. And it's a video of student comments, and it's about a 15, 20-minute video that just has students talking about why they did not complete college. And it's pretty sobering, and I think we would recognize all the issues. I mean, why students do not go forward. It is mainly around not having the contacts, not building those relationships with people and the staff, not feeling like they are welcome to college. I think we do a pretty good job of that, frankly, but I know one of the things we're working on tomorrow is the relationship piece and trying to get advisors, that intrusive advising you were talking about. I think that should make a significant difference. So anyway, I thought it was important enough to take some time and talk about it, because it's not going away. This is going to continue to be a huge issue, and should be, because right now, as you know, it doesn't make any difference which presidential candidate you listen to, and Governor Brownback are all pushing community colleges and technical schools as a way to really improve what's going on in the communities. Another thing, a couple of people said, you know, we're really happy to have the adults here. We don't want to minimize that. But the people that are going to really make a difference economically in your community are your 18 to 24-year-olds. And if you're really focusing on getting those students in some kind of a program and getting that age group to success in education, that's how you're going to really impact on your community, that age group. I'm not saying we wouldn't welcome every single student that comes in and honor all the adults too, but for economic success in the community, it's those 18 to 24-year-olds. So that's what I learned. I think there's some things we can talk about later around the completion rates. Do we want to talk about our goals here, as you have set for the grant? What makes sense for the college as far as completion rates? Certainly not measuring it like a four-year college. So anyway, good conference and really good sessions around this. Every session I went to was around completion and success. I was just real interested in that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Are there other committee reports? I would just report then from KACCT. Will be in Topeka tomorrow attending a legislative strategic planning meeting for the development of the legislative agenda with the executive committee from the Council of Presidents and the executive committee from KACCT, although I think right now I'm the only member that will be attending, with the executive director and the new lobbying firm that we have employed. And that'll begin at 11 o'clock, and we'll work through into the late afternoon. I'm sure a number of things that we're going to talk about as we frame and develop the legislative agenda there. And a number of the things that Ray just mentioned coming out of the ACCT meeting are certainly discussions that are ongoing here in our own state, in Kansas. And KACCT is taking a lead in those discussions, and not the least of which, one of the items on the agenda for tomorrow are the outcome metrics and so forth, defining and so forth, as we continue to align more with KBOR and that work continues. So I'll be attending that tomorrow, and we'll give you a follow-up report by the next meeting, if not before. Okay. No other committee reports then?
I do
comment?
have a question or a statement. I think that community colleges have to be accountable. There's no debate there. But really, the purpose of a community college, to me, as I have been a trustee, is more about just life enhancement. And so, there are people that come and they don't take courses necessarily they have a job, but they're enhancing their skills. So they are able to take a course and it makes them a little faster in the computer, or
promotion
do something,
or something. Yeah.
We offer a number of different courses. Remember when we had the 80-year-old gentleman that had been taking classes for decades, because it was something he enjoyed.
90.
Yeah,
91 he just turned.
Bill Zimmer. We have, and I don't know if the rest of the trustee, the thing that I think that the politicians are doing is trying to, again, have the dollars and accountability, and then wanting, to me, that, that evaluative system, the one size does not fit all. It does not fit. It is not appropriate for community colleges. Community colleges are much more than just about taking, getting toward degrees and this sort of thing. They really are about enhancements of whatever a person is needing or, able to afford. And it goes back even to when we talk about the late enrollments and this sort of thing, which is an ongoing issue. But again, it's a lot of the life struggles that a lot of our potential students have. My hope would be that this intrusive counseling, advising, and these sort of things would be that haven't existed before, would be the catalyst for improvement of sustaining our students, maintaining, giving them the stamina and wherewithal to complete what it is they start. But we're just starting these programs. even our developmental education. I mean, all of these things I think are very important. We don't even know the results of these efforts, and yet we're going to be perhaps talking about changes with our outcomes in that. And I, for one, very much worry about that we are trying to make community colleges mini universities and not true community colleges. And I would hope that this board would fight to maintain the integrity of the original intent of community colleges and not just go along for the ride because it's the popular thing to do now. This is the way the wind's blowing today. Tomorrow the wind will change direction. And we have to be steadfast, I think, in our belief of what this institution needs to be about. I think that here, particularly these last couple of years, the momentum that the community college has had in providing services to our community and to the students, and the leadership that this institution has provided for this community is something that, you know, it's just, when I heard about how Johnson County didn't get their rent, well, you know, the topic. No, but transportation is not the area to be talking about. But yet, our staff had an acute awareness of what needs were in the community and addressed those. And actually, the federal government was smart enough to listen this time. And, you know, so I think that we really have to give this maybe even a retreat, Mr. Chairman, to talk about this, to see if we're really wanting to just ride the tide, or if in fact we want to perhaps demonstrate another way of thinking about how we are accountable for what we do here at the community college.
Mr. Chairman.
And I'm going to respectfully disagree with part of Mr. Rios' statements. I think it is incumbent upon colleges, all education facilities, to really think about how do we improve the outcome of all students. Just to continue to say, allowing students to come in and take classes, and I think that's great, and we define what the completion rate is. But I think community colleges do have an obligation to improve the economic situation of a community. And I think what we're trying to do with the grant that we have, with the programs we're putting in place, is having more success, to continue to go along and continue what we've always done, knowing that we have a number of students. We've said this all along. That's why Tamara has put into place a developmental program. We don't have enough students completing and being successful. And I think just to continue to do what we've always done and say that's okay, I don't think that's what we're about. And I do think this board has been willing to step up and take some actions and be supportive of doing some different things to help more students complete and help more students be success. So I hope the board doesn't decide to just basically continue what we've always done. Yeah, we have students with a lot of issues. We have students with a lot of concerns. That doesn't relieve us of our obligation to do everything we can to help those students. We're the professionals. We're the people here that are really trying to figure out how to help more students be successful. I think that's our obligation. I just think we owe that to our students. We owe that to our community to put things in place to measure what we're doing the way we want to measure, but an authentic measurement. Are we improving? Are we having more students successful? I think that's important for us to do. Tamara, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I just wanted to make a comment. I think the board is to be commended for putting support behind, especially recently, developmental education. But the issue is that the trend nationwide, when we talk about outcomes, and when we talk about funding being tied to outcomes, and how many students complete, the trend is beginning to be in the other direction nationwide, where you have community colleges now basically rejecting students who are testing into developmental levels, because they know those students, they will graduate maybe eventually, but if we continue to accept them, our numbers are not going to look so good. And so they're beginning to allocate some of the resources that they had for developmental, for ESL, towards those high-achieving students that will be more successful to make the numbers look good. And I think that is a trend that we're seeing. And I commend the board here for not going in that direction. I think that we have to have a balance. We have to maintain the mission, the open door, open access mission of the community college, but we also have to allocate resources to help our students be more successful.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that tomorrow.
Thank you.
We don't want to get to the point where we're not allowing, what I'm saying is that those students are coming to us not prepared. We need to find ways to help them be
Yes.
better, which you're doing.
Yeah.
But not eliminating people and saying
Yeah.
they can't. I totally agree with that statement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? Let's move to item 12 then, miscellaneous business. The first item that we have is attachment A in your packet, a resolution authorizing for the consumption of alcohol at the Mid-America Education Hall of Fame banquet.
Move
scheduled
approval
for
of the
November 3rd.
resolution.
Second.
All right. Any question or comment, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The second item, attachment B, I believe, resolution authorizing adoption of VALIC Retirement Services Company Government Volume Submittal Plan for Dr. Doris Gibbons, KCKCC President. Dr. Gibbons' contract provides for the college-funded payments each year into a retirement plan of her choosing, and this one is her choice.
I move approval of the resolution.
Second.
Okay?
And I guess that's assuming that we're going to let her retire.
Well, sometime probably. Well, it's probably work forever.
Eventually.
We hope it's a ways down the road.
One way or another, I'm pretty sure it'll happen. Okay.
Retirement's good.
Any other comment or discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. And number 3, which is attachment C that Peggy provided for us, approval of the petition for the creation of a community improvement district. The general nature of the proposal project is to promote the redevelopment and the revitalization of the properties along the State Avenue corridor from 64th Street to 94th Street and 78th Street, along 78th Street from Riverview Avenue to State Avenue. And we've heard from Mr. Bland, who's in the audience. We've heard from him earlier about this, so.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. Are there questions or comments? I'm sure Mr. Bland would be happy to answer them if there are. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Congratulations, Mo. Okay, item number 13, unfinished business. Now, recalled something about a retreat. We have, I think we have something scheduled,
30th, I think, yeah.
October the 30th. I believe that Councilor Nguyen is hosting us at
Yes, Mr.
NBC.
Chairman. Used to be at our place, but, Mr. Chairman, you have number 4 right before unfinished business.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, thank you. I'm jumping ahead here. Wendell's got something to do, I think, so he keeps nudging me over here. All right, let's go back then to number 4, nomination or approval of 2 trustee members to serve on the Personnel or Human Resources Committee.
What action are we looking? Nominees or just that we want to have a committee?
Is there a committee?
There is a committee already.
I think there is a committee, but I don't
No board
believe,
representation.
yeah, I don't believe we've had board representation, so do you have?
I think we just started it. It hasn't been active,
Yeah, it hasn't been active committee.
so we need 2 board members.
Okay, so we're looking for 2 board members for this additional board committee.
I'm like to put window, Maddox on that committee.
Leona's here.
Thanks.
Dean Marks, comments? Yeah.
haven't had anyone on the committee for a couple of years, and we want to get some work done on the housing.
Okay.
I also would like to place Kathy Bryant on there.
So you're nominating Wendell and Kathy?
And Kathy.
At this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think they're both nominate Clyde.
Yeah. I knew where this was going to go. I'll tell you what, how about if anyone who's interested or has an interest in this would contact me, and we'll do, and we'll have the chair appoint like we do, make that recommendation. And so let's try to do that pretty quickly. And then we can get that committee active. Okay. And I presume there's a description in the handbook or somewhere that talks about duties and responsibilities for the committee. Okay.
And that is something that we can get written up, at least so that the board can have in writing. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so trustees, if y'all would just let me know, and we'll get that going real quickly here. So, okay, good. Wendell has volunteered to serve on it. Just those of you down at that end of the table maybe didn't hear that. So Wendell's volunteered. Oh, okay. All right. I noticed you speaking, but I don't see her mouth moving. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll get that done. We'll get it going, Leota, and work with you. Okay. Good. All right. Unfinished business.
So what was it about the 30th? I didn't have that down on my calendar.
Yeah, we have retreat.
The retreat?
To
What
look at the
time?
board evaluation. Like 4:35?
4:30, I believe it was.
4:30.
4:30 to 6.
That was on October 30th?
That was October 30th. Yeah,
5
we,
o'clock.
that,
Okay.
My letter said 5, I think.
that emanated out of the last board meeting.
I had a question.
I don't. 4:30. 4:30.
4:30 to 6 is what I have on my schedule.
What are you serving that night, Mr.?
Yeah.
Don't bring no damn.
All right.
Be careful about that now. That's important.
Okay, I believe Wendell has some real business here, so, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, be sure there are cookies, whatever you do.
I recommend,
about a year and a half ago, we brought up getting iPads for trustees so that we could begin to go paperless. And I'd like to resurrect that.
Okay.
I don't know where we go from here on that, but and what needs to happen, but I'm recommending that, and I don't know if we need to take a vote on it or what.
I recommend that Dr. Gibbons and her staff look in. I agree with Wendell. I think we should do that and come back with a plan and how we can get that started. And
Yeah, and be sure, now listen, don't upset me. I'm with you 100%, but I don't want you to be no fool.
Be sure he's got a tutor.
we hear you.
All right? I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
Okay, all right.
And I don't want to upset the table. Things been going great for the last 7, 8 years. Well, it takes one bowling ball to go the wrong damn direction.
And how are we, I read in Dr. Gibbons' report that Baz is going to do those one-on-one session on my dot. Are you going, how do we set those up? We contact you directly, or how do you want to do that, Baz? Okay.
Good.
Great.
Great, we appreciate that. Okay, any other unfinished business?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion, a second for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
If any opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it.
It's a great feeling of knowing the